name is Barris. I'm one of the co-founders of SneakerCon. I'm from New York, Brooklyn. We started SneakerCon in 2009. It was something very new. It was something that just didn't happen. There was nothing like this. We are planning on doing a bunch more in other countries. We have our eyes on China, and we're actually very excited. We actually traveled last year to Shanghai, and we checked out the city. We enjoyed ourselves in Shanghai, and it's something that we're going to pursue and doing eventually.
When you were in Shanghai, anything special you found throughout the trip? In terms of sneaker culture?
The sneaker culture, I wouldn't say it's all the same everywhere, because if you go to the States, New York City, it's a melting pot of people, and some people would think the Nike model Foamposite is a New York City shoe, but in all reality, it's bigger, or was bigger, in Washington D.C. So there would be more people that would be into Foamposites than in New York City. So it all depends on the city. I know in certain parts of China, there's different models that are more popular, something similar as in the States.
In China, sneaker as a subculture just came up in the past several years. So it's comparatively very new to Chinese and to young people and kids in domestic China. So they're still trying to get into the culture. In China, people have thinking of easy is expensive and we buy it, and it shows off that I'm rich and I'm stylish. What do you take on that?
When I got into the sneaker culture, it was not like I got into it. It's just I grew up in it because I'm originally from New York, and New York, it was more of a hip hop culture, and everything was so very fashionable. Whatever hip hop artists were wearing, that's what was really cool. And it was just a way of life wearing Jordans. Growing up, my parents didn't want to buy me Jordans because they were just too expensive at the time, but I always appreciated it. And when I finally had my chance to go and get a pair of Nike sneakers or Jordans, it was something very special because it was just something that was very hard to obtain when growing up. So, with the Chinese market, let's say that, as you mentioned, the Yeezys, it's something hard to obtain. So, there's a value to it. So once the kids, if they have to work hard or whatever they have to do to get it, they'll eventually get it and they'll appreciate it. And that's what really makes a culture. So, I wouldn't say it's necessarily more for showing off. It's hey, if you could afford it, you could buy it, but you could also work hard and obtain it.
What is the value that SneakerCon is trying to aggregate through all the trips around the world?
Well, for us, it turned into something a little bit more than just providing a platform. It became more of a place where, you could come and trade sneakers. But for us, when we were starting it off, it was a group of people in New York City that conversated through various platforms on the internet. And we looked at it as oh, you could also take this off the internet and meet and trade and do everything you're doing off a message form in real life, pretty much. So, we're looking at it's we're taking people away from the Instagrams, from in the Asian culture, Weibo, WeChat, and we're pretty much putting people together into one room, and whatever you would be doing, talking or looking on the internet or mobile phones, you're actually doing it in real life.
Were you originally a sneaker collector?
I wouldn't say I was always a sneaker collector because, I just, growing up, my parents couldn't afford sneakers for me to wear. But as soon as I started working and I was able to, fund myself, I found these rare shoes and I just really appreciated them. There was just the colors, the one brand was the Nike SBs that were coming out, and that really drove me to buying my own sneakers. They were doing some really amazing stuff that was also a subculture.
Do you think sneaker culture is growing really fast right now, or comparing to last maybe a decade, it's a little bit changing?
I think it's taking a very big pivot where Nike was dominating the culture, and now since Adidas came out with Yeezys and the Boost, Ultra Boost sneakers and NMDs, it took a different turn. And there's a lot of fashion designers that are getting involved with Adidas that are doing some cool stuff. Years ago you would never really look at Adidas shoes, and now just the first thing you walk into a mall, it's like, oh, let me go to the Adidas shop. So it's a very interesting moment in the sneaker culture. And it's not just with the two dominant brands of Adidas and Nike, there's also Vans. They're doing like a lot of cool stuff. It is growing pretty fast, but I don't look at it like as fast growth. It's just bringing in new people into the culture. It's pretty much bringing people together.
Most of shows in China, they invite collectors, but this time you invite reality. Why? How did you come up with that idea?
SneakerCon's influencers are really the attendees. The attendees is, we look at the attendees as they're the superstars. They're the collectors, because they're speaking to their peers. When they go to school after SneakerCon, they're coming in to class wearing the coolest sneakers, the coolest t-shirts, and they're exposing their classmates or their friends to something that they would not necessarily be into. So when it comes down to Ray Allen, we looked at Ray Allen as like, for me, Allen, and Yuming, we actually own the pair of the Ray Allen Jordan 8s that were released in New York City House of Hoops. And there was only 24 pairs. Ray Allen's very important to Jordan brand and to the sneaker culture. So, it's just, for us, it was just very special to have them. Our first time working with a sneaker, I would say, celebrity was with Penny Hardaway. So we love Foamposites, and we were doing our first show at the Javits Center in New York City, which is very prominent and very famous venue where just some of the best conventions happen. And we're like, we need to do something very special. And we figured that why don't we book Penny to come and do signings for anyone that signs up and gets access to him. And it was very successful. He came through, he did signing, and he walked the show, and a lot of the attendees were very happy about this. So we're looking at, Ray Allen as the same thing, and we know that Ray Allen is very popular in China. We're not trying to promote a shoe, we're just trying to have access to Ray Allen. Because, most of the times whenever a sneaker celebrity has something to do with shoes, it's always to promote something. But in this case, he's going to be just playing a simple game of horse with a YouTuber by the name of Kayas Omar. Yeah, it just stems back to, the attendees are our influencers. The attendees is who make the show. Without the attendees are very important to sneaker culture.